Well, this is the first mini clinic I've ever been a part of. Yeah.
Really?
So Dave Ellefson was the first person to ever invite me to a clinic of any sorts. So I've got nothing to say and nothing to do. How you guys doing? But it's a treat. So thanks everybody for showing up and supporting this, all the bands that everyone's in, and the Dave Ellefson project. I got a. How you doing, Kyle? You all right?
I think I'm good.
I got a. Anywhere else in the world, I'd be like, hey, can I, nerd out on some bass stuff? But you guys might be into it. I don't know. I got this. This is a prototype that I'm. The Silverburst Fender P bass that I'm working with Fender on, and I thought this would be a perfect time to play it for the first time, so I can give them feedback about it. So if you think it looks stupid or sounds stupid, please tell me.
Well, it looks good.
I'm running it through. This is similar to what I play live. I play a lot of Fenders, and this distortion pedal that I created in orange. Because in Mastodon, the two guitar players, if you're familiar with Mastodon, both guitar players, they're just wizards, and I stand in the middle, so I'm flanked by this guitar wizardry, and our drummer, Braun, he's an incredible octopus back there, and every time I get excited about a part or a song, I always want to overplay, and then when it comes time to actually record something, I truly realize that what my role in Mastodon is on this bass, and it's always going to simplify from what I always wanted to do in the first place. So having a low-tuned, real dirty, hairy bass sound is good for me, and it's warm and fuzzy, like I feel inside a lot.
That's the main thing about a bass player is you really have to find your place. You really can't. You have to play. It's the bass and drums where it starts. Without that, then you have nothing. Thankfully, I played with amazing drummers, and without that, with no foundation, there's nothing to build off of. So it's more about listening than playing. Knowing exactly where to come in and where to shine and where to lay back. It's a hard thing to do. People think bass players just play real simple backbone notes, which some do. I like to play a little bit more, but at the same time, I play now with two guitar players. So I also suggest bass players to play in a band with one guitar player, because you can't hide anything. You can't fake it, because you get two guitars, they're screaming loud, so you don't know what the bass player is doing. But when you play in a three-piece, which I've done, or it's awesome. It's like the bare bones. It's really cool. You can really feed off of each other and know how to play, and learn how to play. I've known some people that started out in full bands and they never really matured as bass players because you're just trying to keep up. Usually you're playing with great guitar players, you're trying to keep up with what they're doing. But yeah, like I said, less is more. The less you can break it down. I like practicing just with the drummer a lot too, to get to get the foundation locked in, which is an awesome thing to do. I highly recommend it before a tour, before a record. Just play with a drummer. And you'll realize how you can really lock in, and then people notice, guitar players notice, and then you got the singers, which are out of their minds anyway normally. So yeah.
That's good advice. Jamming with just a drummer. Any of you guys in a band? Yeah, cool. Music lovers. Anything that's not super smart bass-wise I could answer for you? No theory and scales. I can tell tour stories.
No notes.
No notes. Well, this is a great question. I do about a couple things before we play, and it's a song called Ghost of Corellia. It's on our Crack the Sky record, and I saw the moon solar eclipse one day, and I wrote a song about it. This was like 2008, but it's one thing I like.
That's a good warm-up, actually. It's a lot of notes.
Slow, but
Yeah.
This is This is something that we're working on last week in Atlanta, and again, realizing you have to simplify sometimes. I started, let me show you, you mind if I talk a lot? Do I talk a lot?
No. No, he doesn't.
I wanted to do this, and then the guitar players recorded something, and I realized I had to simplify, but it started like this. And then it had to, on tape, it sounded like this, which was a little deflating at first, but it went, which is cool, but my point being is you have to be a team player sometimes in a band.
Right.
If I ever did a solo record, it would bomb.
But it'd be a double bass record.
It'd be a double bass record.
It'd be dual bass. It'd be the best for bass players.
I don't know any true scales, you know, like I envy people that do, but my only guitar lessons, bass lessons was just, you know, following Kyle's lead and just, you know, playing Guns N' Roses' first record and Van Halen, Cheap Trick and all that shit. That was my lesson. So if people come to me and say, hey, can you show me a blank blank scale? I could say no.
Yeah, no, I can't.
So, you know.
I was the same. Yeah.
I go with how I feel. I've always been a feel player. I could never be asked to jump in for like the Saturday Night Live band. If that was ever to pop up, I would have to say no because I wouldn't. That's not my league. And looking back, I wished I knew piano, which is something my mom tried to do with me when I was very young. But I just
me too.
Piano wasn't on MTV, you know, in 1981 or whatever that was. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But looking back, I wish I did because that would have opened up all these other windows of note theory and progressions that I don't know.
Yeah, I tell my kids the same thing. Like, believe me, if I could go back, I would learn to play guitar. I mean, learn to play piano first.
Yeah.
Then you can, you know, it's kind of the same thing, you know, playing that way. And it's just so un-rock and roll a piano. I just wasn't going to do it, and now it really is. You know, you can learn a lot from it. The more you can learn, the better. You know. In hindsight, I wish I'd learned 18 languages. You know, I wish I learned to play every instrument because, you know, it comes in handy now. We go all over the world, and you feel like a moron because you don't have any idea what's going on. So you just fake it, you know.
That's good advice.
Yeah, it is.
So I just warm up with songs that you were about to play, but you know, at home, I'm always immersed in whatever new Mastodon demos we're working on. So I'm very just blinded, you know. My horse blinders on, I guess. Yeah, but I enjoy that. But
when you're in tour mode, you're playing the songs that you play every night, and then when you're off, when I'm off, I don't play a whole lot. And then we just, after a year and everything that's gone on, we finished a record, so we've been in writing mode the whole time, you know, which is awesome to have brand new music coming out. It's just as far as I just don't play by myself a lot. I learned with headphones in my room with a record player to Iron Maiden and Metallica records, and learning the, you know, thankfully I get it why the bass is so loud in Iron Maiden songs because it's Steve Harris's band. I never knew that back then. I was like, man, I can hear every note as all it's clicking and yeah. What is it? I don't even think he did the triple. It was I thought that was awesome. I thought that was the coolest thing on the planet to be able to play like that. Yeah, and it just kind of came to me. I haven't played that in a long time. And it all goes back. Yeah.
Really, how you guys doing?
That's another cool one. That's a crazy song, man.
That's a Blade Catcher.
Yeah.
I was told by my 8-year-old son that I always preach non-explicit stuff, you know, when you're buying your music now on iTunes and things like that. But I got busted with a little hypocrisy because he pulled up a Mastodon song called Blade Catcher, and he's like, Dad. as a lyricist, he said, this is explicit. And I said, I'm sorry about that. Thank you for calling. Oh, Blasteroids. A song called Blasteroids has a bad word in it. And I told him we don't have any songs in our 18-year career that has a bad word in it, so I apologize.
But he loves it. He gets so happy when he
knows
hears
how to
that.
spell it and say it. Yeah.
How do you keep the low end on your distortion?
It's a good question. In the studio, there's studio trickery or magic, that can EQs and whatnot, so that's cool. Live, this is a pedal that it's called, and there's a lot of bass distortion pedals, and I've tried a lot of them. The old big green muffs, the Russian ones. That's always been my favorite, and that kind of seems to be the go-to, but this is called an elephant skin. It's a pedal that I assisted building. It mocks the old big muff, and so far live, and then my band, I don't know if my bass goes unnoticed and no one says anything. I'm not sure. There's a lot going on, but I want to believe that I'm heard or felt, but this is my current thing, so I'm still, playing around with it every day. Yeah.
Can we buy it? Is it out?
Well, this is the only one I have at the. Oh yeah, it's out stores and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's called elephant skin because it's thick and hairy, and pleasant. It was a beast of epic proportions that roamed the earth peacefully, and I feel that's how my band sounds.
Who made that?
This is Ren and Cuff, little
yeah.
pedal company out of California.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mastodon. They ate a lot of avocados. They were vegetarian. I didn't know that until recently. But you guys like tidbits of useless information?
You got it.
Yes, Brian.
Who kicked whose ass?
He kicked my ass as my older brother.
In a good way.
It was a good way. It was just, swift, just who's in charge. And that kind of ceased around age 16-ish when we were both about the same height. And I was like, all right,
Then that stopped.
let's just work it.
And then we thought, why the hell do we both play bass? You're going through so many bands with so many just people that just cannot deal with. So another hindsight, we would have played something different so we could play together. A lot of brother bands get along, Damn it.
Great question. Different answer probably for different bands. Like Brian's band, for example. I've never met your bass player actually, but he's amazing and he fills in every part so well and so tasteful. In Mastodon, I always have to simplify even further. Even when I got something simple that I think is kind of sexy and fits the pocket, going into a studio, if I record bass after guitars, which makes sense for our band, I have to simplify further for the greater good of the song. But if we were just a two-piece bass, three-piece, two basses and a drums, which might happen in the future, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned it all these years later. It would be different. So I think it's the role of the bass is different for every band.
Definitely not overplaying. It's so awesome and cool to overplay by yourself, and then when he fits in with the band, it doesn't work. Like Fieldy's a bass player. He's rhythmic. He's like another drummer. And you don't hear a lot of notes. He's just a whole lot. When we toured with him a couple summers ago, watching him, I was like, did not understand how I get it. It sounds awesome, but I don't know how he gets some of that clicky, and that's his whole thing. I saw when Korn started, that was another thing that put them over the top.
We just did this whole past summer, Mastodon supported Primus, and that was a dream come true.
Another
for me.
one.
And to watch that guy and what he writes those songs, so obviously worlds apart. A person like myself and someone like Les Claypool. So, yes, sir. It was great. He was amazing. He's very friendly. Their whole band was phenomenal, and I learned that if you overeat, they're big fans of beef jerky, and I ate more beef jerky because I wanted to hang out. If you eat beef jerky nearly every night it was a 63-day tour, and it was lovely. But if you eat that much jerky, you kind of feel it after 2 months. That's one thing I learned from touring with Primus.
Primus and Rush were two other bands that I can't say they're influential because I listen to them all the time, but I didn't get it. With Geddy Lee and Les, I just didn't understand what they were doing. I thought it was cool as hell to listen to it and to watch them play, but I was more on the Steve Harris Geezer Cliff because that's awesome. I get that. That's my style. It's definitely the broader the more wide your horizon is to look and take everything in, whether you're influenced or not. You are influenced, maybe not in your playing, but more in your style, and those are my lessons. I was self-taught, so That's another thing I would advise the people starting now is to listen to as much possible. Because I started out, if it wasn't metal, I didn't care what it was. Even like Zeppelin and stuff, I just like, nope. Or any kind of like Skinner, Southern rock, I wasn't going to give it a chance until years later, where I start to really, open your mind up a little bit. Then you realize there's a lot of good music of every style and genre, and there's a lot of bad too in every style and genre. It's up to the listener. It's not a book of good and bad.
Encourage a mature palate, is what he's trying to say.
That's what it is, and much less words.
Yes.
Of all the bass players out there, who's the one bass player you would love to play with that you haven't played with yet?
That's great.
I had the privilege of playing with a lot of bands throughout the days with a lot of great musicians. So,
Yeah, I guess I don't have a dead or alive dream team. I should, though. I'll work on that
yeah,
next year.
yeah,
Anybody else? Thanks for putting up with us.
yeah, man.
What's up?
So, like, for both of you, like, when you're listening to stuff right now and something comes across, what band or specific musician makes you kind of have that, oh shit moment, like, this guy right now is fucking doing something interesting?
However those sound waves get into my ear hole, whatever tickles my inner fancy, it's good inspiration. I get inspired by musicians and by landscapes, in a mountain or something. A certain bridge, look down, and this river is amazing with this cool fork in the river. And like, what's that all about? They find mammoth bones in there, and I'm going to investigate and write some lyrics about it. So it could be anything that inspires me, but I mean, music, of course, is the number one foundation of why I'm even here. That didn't make any sense,
Yeah,
did
it
it?
didn't.
On that note,
Yeah, we didn't have.
thank you guys for coming to this today.
Yeah, hope we do it tonight. Right on.